Another night, another round of Ukrainian sanctions. Ukrainian drones struck the Afipsky oil refinery in Russia's Krasnodar Krai at night. After the strike, a fire broke out on the territory of the enterprise, presumably at one of the primary oil processing facilities. The drone attack and subsequent fire were confirmed by the operational headquarters of the Russian region. Local authorities said the fire had broken out on the night of September 26th, allegedly due to falling UAV fragments. The strike took place around 2 a.m. Kyiv time. The Afipsky oil refinery has a capacity of 6.25 million tons of oil per year, which is more than 2% of the total oil refining capacity of the Russian Federation. The plant produces diesel fuel, gasoline, gas oil, fuel oil, and sulfur. It is part of the Safmar Group and is one of the largest in southern Russia. Defense forces had repeatedly struck the plant earlier, causing it to shut down. The previous strike was carried out by the soldiers of the 14th Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Regiment of Unmanned Systems Forces, in conjunction with the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine on the night of August 28th. The company plays an important role in supplying the Russian economy and army with diesel fuel. The Ministry of Defense of the aggressor country announced in the morning that air defenses had allegedly shot down 3 drones over Krasnodar Krai. Ukraine's ongoing waves of drone attacks against Russian oil refineries are causing more discontent and complaints from Russian war bloggers who are demanding that more should be done to stop them. Ramzai puts the blame on the refinery owners, reflecting a widespread conspiracy theory that they are happy to see their refineries being blown up because they make more profit from fuel price increases. I believe that for every successful attack on an oil refinery, the owners of the refineries should be severely punished for negligence and criminal inaction. We have already written that, judging by numerous facts, strikes on their refineries only benefit large oil and gas companies. With their oil product exports severely limited, even a 1 ruble increase in gasoline and diesel fuel prices brings them billions, and strikes on oil refineries are the perfect jack for lifting them. That's why we see such shameful videos of a slow-moving drone approaching and striking yet another oil refinery in broad daylight without any resistance. As a reminder, gasoline prices have risen by almost 5 rubles in the central regions of the country over the past 3 months, while in Crimea and the new territories, prices are going through the roof amid supply disruptions. It's time to stop this chaos. If refinery owners refuse to organize defenses for their facilities, they simply need to be placed under state control and have their defenses organized by directives. Dmitry Steshin warns ominously that fuel shortages could lead to the fall of the regime, a fateful war in a completely relaxed manner, or 2 shells don't land in the same crater, but drones do. In the video, a Ukrainian drone slowly limps toward an oil refinery in Bashkortostan, ready to strike it with debris for the 2nd time in a week. Meanwhile, Dmitry Peskov is voicing a completely different narrative, even using the censored word war. Apparently, this is to sow confusion in the enemy camp. Peskov says, "Now is the most acute phase of the war, and it is quite fateful. We must win it for the sake of our children, our grandchildren, and their future." We've already heard countless idiotic excuses from oil workers about how we don't need oil refineries and gasoline production is a burden. A normal person simply can't wrap their head around these statements. But I'll remind you of something from recent history that few people know, but I saw with my own eyes. By a strange coincidence, Libya, remember that one? Home to North Africa's richest reserves of high-quality Sirte oil, didn't have and never will have its own oil refinery. Meanwhile, gasoline was cheaper than Holy Spring water. In March 2011, in Benghazi, I filled up my BMW's tank, about 70 liters, with excellent 95-octane gasoline, and it cost me 256 rubles. 5 months later, I was running around Tripoli trying to find gasoline. A 20-liter can of gasoline of an unknown brand cost $200. For our own people, it was $100. The Chechen samovar culture wasn't developed in Libya, nor was public transportation. It was practically non-existent. Yes, I didn't misspeak. So the people went absolutely crazy over the gasoline shortage, and the highway from Tripoli to the airport was littered with burned-out cars and the gutted suitcases of fleeing officials and party leaders. However, they didn't manage to escape. The lucky ones made it to Cyprus on a Red Cross ferry, but they were few and far between. Some believe counterintelligence should be looking into those whose criminal negligence or deliberate malice is causing us to begin to replicate Libya in 2011, before it's too late. Two Majors lists the numerous refineries hit by Ukraine and comments, "The problem will persist, or even worsen, until there is a specific person or agency responsible for the penetration of our air defenses by Ukrainian flying machines. Responsibility for the current situation is diffuse, meaning no one is held accountable and adequate measures will not be developed." Furthermore, this tactic of the Ukrainian armed forces was welcomed by Trump, who has been so favored by our journalists, and Zelensky directly refers to this tactic of inflicting economic damage as a military strategy. We urge our esteemed capitalists to consider the need for somewhat more assistance to the Russian army, at least in terms of equipping the mobile fire teams guarding the skies around the oil refineries. Russian Telegram channels report that there is a total fuel shortage in Russia, with about 360 gas stations shutting down due to a lack of gasoline. Supply disruptions have affected the Moscow, Leningrad, Ryazan, and Nizhny Novgorod regions, among others. It is reported that the situation is felt most severely in southern Russia, where the number of gas stations has decreased by 14%, and in the temporarily occupied Crimea and Sevastopol by nearly half. At the same time, Sergei Aksyonov, so-called head of the Russian-occupied Crimea, called on residents of the peninsula to be patient and stated that the situation is under control and will soon be resolved, with gasoline once again becoming available, from Kyiv in 3 days to gas shortage.
Due to the fact that some factories in this case are simply not operating physically, we have encountered problems and disruptions with fuel. The situation with 95-octane gasoline will be fully resolved within 2 days. And within 2 weeks at most, the issue with the availability of 92-octane gasoline will be resolved. There is no problem with diesel fuel, the necessary volume is available. I am in direct contact with all federal services.
The situation is objective. I ask the Crimeans and guests of the peninsula to be patient.
The situation is forced due to objective reasons. But once again, I repeat, within 2 days, the issue with 95 gasoline will be fully resolved. And within 2 weeks, the issue with 92-octane gasoline will also be resolved.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comments section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.